guys, we have a leg extension leg curl machine today for you. This is the RitFit PLC, it's in Papa Lima Charlie 01. So leg curl, leg extension. So the leg extension, right, is going to be seated, and the leg curl is prone, which means you're lying on your stomach. So you're lying leg curl. Okay, so let's go over the specs of this. The length, it is 50.9 inches long. It is 43.5 inches wide, and it is 42.7 inches high. This whole entire thing weighs 109 pounds, and for me, I'm able to pretty much shimmy it, pick it part way up, move it around in my garage, no problem, because it doesn't weigh that much. So let's go into the max user weight. So the max user weight for this is going to be 325 pounds, and the max load capacity that we can load on this is going to be 375 pounds. The cable ratio, because it is a cable machine, is a 3:2, as stated online. It has 4 backrest positions, and it has 12 adjustable range positions for the cables. So those are the specs. Pretty simple. There is a weight horn on the back to store some of your weight plates, and as you can see, the horn on the side is how you're going to load the weight for your exercises. So I want to get into a little bit of science here about the weight on the side versus the weight in the front. If you saw my previous video with my ATX leg extension, the weight is placed on the front, right? So you're sitting on a leg extension, you put the weight on, and you extend your legs. This is going to be on the side. Given that, so if I'm sitting here and I'm placing the weight on the side, the distance from the weight to the pivot point, which is going to be my knee, is shorter than if the weight was placed in front of me. What does that mean? It means weight on the side is going to reduce the torque on the joint, so on my knee, so it's going to feel lighter. So that means you're going to have to either add heavier weight so that you can make it feel heavier, or you can add bands or modify it however you need to make it feel heavier. Because in my experience, I've already been using this a couple times, and the weight does feel super light. And that's because it's on the side, and given the pulley is 3:2, those things combined makes it feel really light. But we're gonna get into that. I'm gonna show you what that means for me and for you when we lift the weights. So those are the specs. That's a little background information about it. So let's get into using it. Let's get started with some leg extensions. I've loaded a plate on the side. Before we get into that, we're going to go into the setup. So I have this at the position 1, the very upright backrest position, right? There's 4 total positions. It's at number 1. So if I sit on it, you can see that there's about 4 inches from my knee crease, from the kneecap to the pad, which I typically would like that a little bit longer. I like the pad and leg extension to come right to the back of my kneecap so I can really get snug in there, grab the handlebars, right? I call these my oh shit bars. These are so you can pull yourself down and in to stabilize, right? Because you want opposing forces. You're pushing yourself down as you're bringing your legs up. The leg extension pad, I do like it because it does have some movement, so it is adjustable to different people's shin lengths. So you put it right there in the crook of your ankle, and then here we have the different positions. You could bring it all the way back so you have a greater stretch, or if you're more comfortable, you can bring it forward and start here. I do like that you have the options to have a different start position based on what you like. Right, so here we are. I'm gonna go all the way 1. I'm gonna demonstrate with my 4 inches of my thighs hanging up, right? So I'm just coming down and up. With the weight on the side, what it feels like is I don't feel any tension at the beginning of the range of motion or at the end. For me, I feel right here in the middle part of the exercise is where I feel the load. And even though they say it's a 3:2 ratio, I feel like it's a 4:1 ratio. I have 45 pounds on there, and it feels like it's 10 pounds. Again, that's where I said you might have to add lots more weight or a band to assist in it feeling like a heavier load. So this is that initial setup. I'm going to move the seat backrest 1 to see how that position, I'm going to show you how that changes what it feels like. So that is going to be position 2. You can see that I'm going to be leaning back, which is going to allow me a little bit more room, right? So you can see there's maybe only an inch which for me, I prefer this setting. I like to get snug in there, all set up. And with the slight lean back, you can stay back here and it's just gonna open up your hip flexors a little more, versus here, my hip flexors are definitely flexed, and here they're more in a stretch position. If you wanna rest your head back, you can't. It's gonna fall back and fall off. It's like I'm decapitated, there it goes. I would have liked that a little bit longer too, because I like to push my head into the pad so everything in my upper body is stable, and then I can just focus on the extension. But I can't do that, so you're just gonna have to engage your own head weight and stabilize it. Again, I don't feel much of the weight regardless until the middle range of motion. I mean, it's not bad. A band would definitely compensate that, because the band would add tension at that end range. So there we go. That's a leg extension. You can even do unilateral, so that's an option if you're, right, if the 4-to-1 feels like, in my opinion, I could definitely cut back on how much I loaded it by just doing one leg at a time, and then I feel like it compensates for both legs. I can just focus on one leg, and I don't have to put 1,000,000 pounds of weight just for one leg. I can put half that weight, and it works just fine. No issues there. I do think this pad is comfortable. It's not pinching on my shins or on my feet. It's adjustable. In that sense, I am happy with that leg extension position. Okay, so this is position 3, and then this is position 4. Clearly, position 4 is going to be the leg curl. This position here, I'm not sure what it is, what it's going to feel like. I haven't actually played around with this, so let's see what that feels like for a leg extension to lean all the way back. Oh, see, yeah, that's not even good, because this far back, my head's gonna fall off. Here we are. Okay, that really does nothing. So I'm not sure. For leg extension, and you can see with this far back, there's an arch in my back, so there's gonna be some tension on your lower lumbar, which you're gonna get up and you're gonna be like, ooh, that doesn't feel right. So let's flip over and try it for leg curl. No, you can't do that either. So you can't do leg curl here either, because I definitely is not advantageous. Right, if we go in there, it's like there's no support. It's gonna kill your lower back. Yeah. So this isn't even. So I'm not sure what this position is for. Because even though I'm feeling it in my hamstrings, my lower back is not happy. It's not in agreement with this. So let's put the pad flat so that we're in a very better position so we don't hurt ourselves. So in this last position, it doesn't lock into place. I would have liked a pinhole down here to lock it in so it's more secure, but that's just me asking for more things. Again, up here, you can adjust the range of motion to where you'd like the leg curl to start and stop. So here we go. I do like that they have handles here so I can grab on to embrace. I shift my hips down instead of having them up. You don't want this gap here. You want your pelvis locked down and flush. And then I'm doing my curls. I mean, it feels fine. I actually think the curls feel better than the leg extensions. I definitely, again, feel it in the middle of the position. There's not so much load here in this range, or from the top range, it's nothing. It's just from like this, maybe 1/3 up to 2/3 of the way. Right here is where I would stay and do work, because that's where I feel the load based on the cam, the pulley system, and the weight on the side. You could do one leg at a time. That's definitely much harder. So that might be your workaround for doing leg curls at a lighter weight. You could also add bands here. So who is this for? In my opinion, it's for somebody who is a beginner weightlifter that doesn't necessarily need, who's not a bodybuilder, right? Bodybuilders want to work their entire range of motion to build the insertion and the origin part of their legs, right? They want to work that everything. This would be good for someone who's just general health, who wants to just work their quads, work their hamstrings in isolation. This is a great piece. This piece runs for about $349 to $400, depending on if it's on sale. So it's reasonably priced. I definitely would not recommend this for people who are advanced intermediate to advanced lifters, this might be a little disappointing for you, but again, for those beginner lifters and those general health population, this might be the piece for you. So overall, as I said, it's not a bad piece. I would like them to think about adjusting the cam system, because they say it's a 3-to-2 ratio, but for me it feels like a 4-to-1 ratio. And if you're not sure what that means for every 4 plates I put on, it would feel like 1. So if I put on 4 25s, that's 100 pounds. To me, it feels like it's only 25 pounds versus 100. So you'd have to add bands or do unilateral work, which means one leg at a time. I definitely don't see this staying in my home gym forever. I am grateful to RitFit for sending this to me to give them my feedback and give them my review. But I do think that there's a better piece out there for me, but this might be the piece for you. So if you like this video, if you found this useful, if you learned anything, please give me a comment, a like, a thumbs up, anything. I would appreciate that. Give me a follow, a subscribe, and I will see you guys here next time.